What if one of the biggest dangers after 70 is not outside your home, not on the stairs, and not even because of age, but hidden in the way your foot touches the ground every time you walk? One small change in your step could be the difference between walking with confidence and suffering a fall that changes everything. In this video, you'll discover the simple walking change many seniors overlook, why it matters so much after 70, and how it can help protect your balance, your independence, and your confidence. By the end, you'll know exactly what to pay attention to every time you stand up and take your next step. But here's the part most people miss. Falling usually does not begin with a dramatic accident. It often begins with one tiny walking habit that slowly becomes normal. And later in this video, you'll learn the simple correction that can make every step safer, steadier, and more controlled. Imagine a senior who has walked confidently for more than 70 years. They still feel independent, still do daily tasks, and still believe they are careful. But one morning, while walking across a familiar room, their toe catches the floor for just 1 second. That tiny moment becomes a fall, and that fall changes how they see walking forever. This is why learning one simple change before it happens matters so much. Before we go deeper, take a moment and think about your own walking. Have you ever noticed your feet scraping the floor, your steps becoming shorter, or your balance feeling less steady than it used to? Comment below. What is the biggest walking change you or someone in your family has noticed after 70? And before I reveal the simple change, make a quick guess. Do you think safer walking comes from walking slower, taking bigger steps, or changing how your foot lifts from the ground? Keep your answer in mind because the truth may surprise you. The body may still look strong. The mind may still feel young. The heart may still want to move fast. But the feet begin telling a different story. A toe catches the edge of a rug. A shoe scrapes the pavement. A step becomes shorter. The knees bend a little less. The ankles lift a little lower. And suddenly, one ordinary walk across the kitchen can become the moment that changes everything. For many older adults, a fall does not begin with drama. It begins with something almost invisible. A foot that does not lift high enough. And that is why one simple change to how you walk after 70 could protect your independence, your confidence, and possibly your life. That change is this. Stop shuffling and begin walking with a deliberate toe lift. Not faster, not harder, not with big dramatic steps. Just a small conscious lift of the front of the foot before it moves forward. It sounds too simple to matter, but in later life, simple things often matter the most. A fall after 70 is not like falling at 30. At 30, a person may stumble, laugh, brush off their clothes, and keep going. At 70 or 80, that same fall can lead to a broken hip, a hospital visit, fear of walking, loss of independence, and sometimes a chain reaction the body struggles to recover from. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention reports that falls are the leading cause of injury among adults 65 and older. Millions of older adults fall every year. But behind every statistic is a living room, a sidewalk, a grocery aisle, a driveway, a bathroom floor, and a person who never expected that one small trip would become a turning point. Picture a 74-year-old man named Robert. Robert had always been active. He was not running marathons, but he took pride in doing things himself. He walked to the mailbox every morning. He watered the plants. He carried groceries from the car. He did not like being called fragile because in his mind he was still the same man who worked long hours, fixed things with his hands, and never asked for help unless he truly needed it. But one morning, Robert walked across his driveway wearing the same shoes he had worn for years. The concrete was dry. The weather was clear. There was no obvious danger. Then his right toe brushed the ground. Not much, just enough. His foot stopped, but his body kept moving. In less than a second, he reached for balance, twisted, and fell hard onto his side. That is how many falls happen. Not because someone is careless, not because they are weak, not because they are old in spirit, but because the body's walking pattern has slowly changed and nobody noticed until the ground noticed first. But here's what most people don't realize. Shuffling is not just a walking style. It can be an early warning sign that your body is losing the clean step pattern that keeps you safe. After 70, the feet often begin to stay closer to the floor. Steps become shorter. The body may lean forward. The arms may swing less. A person may start looking down more often, not because the floor is dangerous, but because confidence has quietly disappeared. This is where the simple toe lift change becomes powerful. When you walk, the front of your foot must clear the ground. That small space between your toe and the floor is one of the most important safety margins in your body. When that space becomes too small, even a rug, a crack, a threshold, or a slight uneven surface can become a trap. Think of it like driving a car over a speed bump. If the car sits too low, it scrapes. If the foot travels too low, it catches. The goal is not to march like a soldier. The goal is to create awareness again. Before each step, gently lift the toes. Let the heel land first. Then roll through the foot. Then push off calmly. Toe up, heel down, roll through, push forward. That rhythm may sound basic, but for many seniors, it wakes up a walking pattern that has slowly gone to sleep. And this is where one tiny detail becomes life-changing, because the danger is not always in the floor. Sometimes it is in how close your toe comes to the floor. And this is not just about the feet. Walking is a full-body conversation. The brain sends the signal. The eyes scan the path. The spine holds posture. The hips guide direction. The knees absorb pressure. The ankles adjust. The toes clear the ground. The arms help balance. When one part becomes lazy or weak, the entire system becomes less stable. That is why a small change can create a big ripple. When you lift the toes deliberately, you are not only moving the foot, you are telling the brain to pay attention. You are giving the ankle a job. You are improving the timing of the step. You are reducing the chance of dragging the foot. You are reminding the body that walking is not just movement, it is coordination. But here is where many older adults make the mistake. They think safer walking means walking slower. Slower can help in some moments, especially on ice, stairs, wet floors, or crowded places. But slow shuffling is not the same as safe walking. In fact, when the feet barely leave the floor, slow movement can still be risky. The danger is not always speed. Sometimes the danger is hesitation. A hesitant walk says, "I am not sure I trust my body." A deliberate walk says, "I am paying attention." There is a difference. After 70, confidence matters. But confidence does not come from pretending there is no risk. Confidence comes from learning how to move with more control. So the first lesson is not to force yourself to walk farther. It is not to push through pain. It is not to compete with your younger self. The first lesson is to make every step cleaner. Lift the toes, land with the heel, roll through the foot. Keep the eyes forward, scanning the path instead of staring straight down. Let the arms swing gently. Keep the steps calm and controlled. This is the kind of walking that can keep a person in the world, because independence after 70 is not only about living longer. It is about reaching the bathroom safely at night, crossing the parking lot without panic, walking into a family gathering without needing two people to hold you, standing in your kitchen and feeling steady enough to make your own breakfast, stepping outside and still feeling like the world belongs to you. And it all begins with the step most people ignore, but the foot is only the beginning. Because once you understand how a simple toe lift can reduce tripping, the next question becomes even more important. Why did the body start shuffling in the first place? The answer may reveal something deeper about aging, fear, balance, and the silent habits that steal mobility long before a fall ever happens. You now know the danger hidden in a low step, but in the next part, we'll uncover why this habit begins after 70 and how fear, weakness, and balance quietly work together to make walking more dangerous. You now know the danger hidden in a low step, but in the next part, we'll uncover why this habit begins after 70 and how fear, weakness, and balance quietly work together to make walking more dangerous. The shuffle rarely appears overnight. It sneaks in. At first, it may show up only when someone is tired, then it appears after sitting too long, then it happens on uneven ground, then it becomes the normal way of walking. A person may not even notice it. Family members may notice first. Mom, pick up your feet. Dad, slow down. Be careful. Those words are usually spoken with love, but they can also plant fear, and fear changes the body. When older adults begin to fear falling, they often move less. When they move less, the legs become weaker. When the legs become weaker, balance becomes worse. When balance becomes worse, walking becomes more uncertain. And when walking becomes uncertain, the fear grows stronger. It becomes a circle. Fear leads to less movement. Less movement leads to weakness. Weakness leads to instability. Instability leads to more fear. That is why the way you walk after 70 is not just a physical habit. It can become an emotional story. Imagine a woman named Margaret. For most of her life, Margaret walked everywhere. She walked through school hallways as a teacher. She walked through airports to visit her children. She walked through grocery stores, church halls, parks, and quiet neighborhoods. Walking was part of who she was. Then one winter she tripped on a small step outside a friend's house. She did not break anything, but the shock stayed in her body. After that, she changed. She stopped taking her evening walk. She began holding furniture inside the house. She looked down constantly. Her steps became shorter. Her feet barely lifted from the floor. She told everyone she was just being careful. But careful had turned into fearful. And fear had changed her walk. This matters because the body adapts to what we repeatedly do. If we repeatedly shuffle, the body becomes better at shuffling. If we repeatedly avoid walking, the body becomes better at sitting. If we repeatedly look down, the body begins to lose the natural rhythm between the eyes, posture, and balance. A landmark study published in JAMA found that walking speed in older adults was associated with survival. That does not mean speed alone causes a longer life, but it does reveal something powerful. The way a person walks can reflect the health of multiple systems at once: strength, balance, heart function, lung capacity, coordination, confidence, and brain-body communication. Walking is like a report card the body writes every day. And after 70, that report card can change quickly if walking becomes smaller, weaker, and less confident. But this is where hope enters. The goal is not to become young again. The goal is to become more aware again. The simple toe lift change works best when it becomes part of a complete walking rhythm. First, stand tall without becoming stiff. Imagine a string gently lifting the chest upward, not military posture, not forced posture, just enough to stop the body from collapsing forward. When the upper body leans too far forward, the feet may rush to catch up. That creates tiny, uncontrolled steps. But when the chest rises, the hips can move more freely, and the feet have more room to clear the ground. Now I want you to pause and ask yourself something honestly. When you walk across a room, do you feel confident, or do you sometimes feel like you need to look down, hold furniture, or move carefully just to feel safe? Share your answer in the comments, because many seniors experience this quietly but never talk about it. And here's a quick question before we move forward. What do you think causes more falls after 70? Weak legs, poor balance, or the habit of not lifting the foot high enough? In a moment, you'll see why the smallest habit can create the biggest danger. Second, look ahead. Many seniors look straight down because they want to avoid danger. But staring at the feet can actually make balance worse. The body needs visual information from the environment. You can scan the path ahead while still noticing hazards. The safest gaze is not at the ceiling and not glued to the toes. It is a soft, forward scan. Third, lift the toes before the step moves forward. This is the heart of the change. It teaches the foot to clear the ground instead of sliding across it. Even a small lift can make a difference, especially near rugs, thresholds, sidewalks, and uneven surfaces. Fourth, let the heel land first. The heel gives the body a stable entry into the step. Then the foot rolls forward naturally. This smooth roll helps prevent the flat-footed slap that can make walking feel heavy and uncertain. Fifth, take controlled steps, not giant steps. Some people hear walk better and think they must take longer strides, but oversized steps can throw off balance. A safer step is natural, steady, and controlled. The toe lift matters more than the size of the stride. Sixth, let the arms move. The arms are not decoration, they help balance. When fear takes over, many seniors stiffen their arms or hold them close to the body. But gentle arm swing helps the body rotate naturally and maintain rhythm. This is why walking can feel easier when it has rhythm. Toe up, heel down, roll through, push forward, chest tall, eyes ahead, arms relaxed, steps controlled. This is not exercise in the loud, sweaty, intimidating way people often imagine it. It is skill, and skill can be practiced. One of the most effective ways to practice is during a short hallway walk at home, not for distance, not for speed, just for quality. Stand near a wall or counter if needed. Begin slowly. Take 5 clean steps. Focus only on lifting the toes and placing the heel. Turn carefully. Take 5 steps back. Rest. Repeat. The point is not to exhaust the body. The point is to teach the nervous system. And the nervous system loves repetition. Every clean step is a message. This is how we walk now, ... But that's not all. The real problem is that fear does not just change how you feel, it changes how you walk, how you stand, and how much of your life you allow yourself to enjoy. But there is one important warning. If one foot suddenly starts dragging, if walking changes quickly, if there is new weakness, numbness, dizziness, severe pain, or confusion, that is not something to ignore or simply practice through. Sudden changes in walking can sometimes signal a medical problem that needs attention. In those moments, the safest step is to speak with a doctor, physical therapist, or qualified health professional. A walking change should feel controlled, not forced. It should build confidence, not create pain. For many older adults, the most dangerous habit is pretending nothing has changed. They continue walking the same way, wearing the same worn-out shoes, crossing the same cluttered room, rushing to answer the same phone, stepping over the same loose rug, until one day the body does not recover in time. But the second most dangerous habit is giving up too soon. Because walking after 70 is not about perfection. It is about protection. It is about noticing the small scrape of the shoe before it becomes a fall. It is about respecting the body without fearing it. It is about understanding that independence is not maintained by luck. It is maintained by daily choices. The toe lift is one of those choices. At first, it may feel unnatural. You may forget after 10 steps. You may catch yourself shuffling when tired. That is normal. The goal is not to think about every step forever. The goal is to practice enough that safer walking becomes automatic again. This is how change happens in later life, not through one heroic moment, but through small repetitions that rebuild trust. And trust is everything. Because once a senior trusts their steps again, they often begin to move more. When they move more, the legs get stronger. When the legs get stronger, balance improves. When balance improves, fear becomes smaller. And when fear becomes smaller, life opens again. This is the part many seniors miss. The body does not suddenly lose confidence in one day. It loses confidence one small avoided movement at a time. But there is still one missing piece. A safer walk does not depend only on the body. It also depends on the world around the body. The floor, the shoes, the lighting, the bathroom, the sidewalk, the doorway, the moment you get up too quickly at night. Because even the best walking technique can fail if the environment is quietly working against you. And that is where this simple change becomes more than a walking habit. It becomes a new way of protecting your life. You've seen why the body starts walking smaller, slower, and less confidently. But the final part is where everything comes together, because safer walking is not only about your feet, it is also about your home, your habits, and your independence. A safer walk begins in the foot, but it is protected by the life around it. Many falls happen in ordinary places because ordinary places are trusted too much. A loose rug becomes invisible because it has been there for years. A dim hallway becomes normal because the light bulb has always been weak. A pair of slippers becomes acceptable because they are comfortable. A cluttered floor becomes familiar because everyone knows how to step around it. Until one night the body is tired, the room is dark, the toes do not lift, and the familiar home becomes unfamiliar ground. This is why the toe lift habit must be paired with awareness. After 70, the goal is not to live in fear of every step. The goal is to remove the hidden traps that punish one imperfect step. Start with shoes. Shoes are not just fashion after 70. They are safety equipment. A shoe that is loose, worn down, slippery, too soft, or too heavy can change the way the foot lifts. If the heel slides inside the shoe, the body may grip with the toes. If the sole catches the floor, the foot may trip. If the shoe lacks support, the ankle may work harder than it should. The safest walking change becomes stronger when the foot is supported. Then look at the floor, not with anxiety, but with honesty. Are there rugs that curl at the corners? Are there electrical cords crossing a walkway? Are there shoes near the door? Is the bathroom mat slippery? Is the path from the bed to the bathroom clear? Is there enough light for a tired brain at 2 a.m? These questions may sound small, but small things are often what decide whether a person stays independent. A fall is rarely caused by one thing. It is usually a combination. A slightly tired body, a dim room, a loose slipper, a rushed step, a toe that does not lift, a hand that reaches too late. Remove one part of that chain and the fall may never happen. This is why experts often recommend exercise and balance training for older adults at risk of falling. The U.S. Preventive Services Task Force has recommended exercise interventions to help prevent falls in community-dwelling adults, age 65 and older, who are at increased risk. That recommendation matters because it confirms what many physical therapists see every day. The body can still improve. Even after 70, the nervous system can learn, muscles can respond, balance can sharpen, confidence can return, but improvement does not require punishment. For many seniors, the first victory is not walking a mile. It is walking across a room without scraping the toes. It is standing up without grabbing desperately. It is turning slowly instead of twisting suddenly. It is stepping over a threshold with awareness. It is going outside again. The simple toe lift walk can be practiced in daily life. Before crossing the kitchen, think toes up. Before stepping onto the porch, think toes up. Before walking through a parking lot, think toes up. Before entering a store, think toes up. Not as fear, as preparation. Athletes prepare before movement. Dancers prepare before movement. Even pilots use checklists before takeoff. There is no shame in preparing the body before a walk. Preparation is wisdom. 1. Powerful habit is the first step. Pause. Before you start walking, pause for 1 second. Feel both feet under you. Stand tall, look ahead. Then take the first step with the toes lifted. This matters because many falls happen during transitions. Getting out of bed, rising from a chair, turning, rushing to the bathroom, answering the door, stepping from carpet to tile. The first step after stillness can be the most uncertain step of the day, so do not rush it. Pause, posture, toes up, step. That small ritual can turn walking from automatic to intentional, and there is something deeply emotional about that, because many older adults do not fear aging itself. They fear losing control. They fear becoming a burden. They fear the day someone says, "You should not walk alone anymore." They fear the quiet shrinking of life, fewer errands, fewer visits, fewer walks, fewer choices. But the goal is not to prove you do not need help. The goal is to protect the freedom you still have. Using a cane, walker, handrail, or physical therapy is not failure. It is strategy. It is a way to stay in the game. Pride should never be allowed to become a fall risk. The strongest seniors are often not the ones who deny change. They are the ones who adapt early. They remove the rug. They turn on the light. They wear better shoes. They practice balance. They lift the toes. They ask for help before a crisis forces it. And in doing so, they protect something far bigger than walking. They protect morning routines. They protect grocery trips. They protect family dinners. They protect independence. They protect the simple dignity of moving through the world under their own power. So they practiced. Not dramatic exercises, not impossible routines, toe lift, heel landing, controlled steps, turning slowly, standing tall, looking ahead, building rhythm. Weeks later, Robert walked to the mailbox again. This time, he was not trying to prove anything. He was paying attention. His steps were slower than they had been at 40, but they were cleaner. His body moved with more purpose, and for the first time since the fall, the driveway did not feel like an enemy. Margaret had a similar change. She began practicing 5 clean steps in her hallway each morning. At first, she laughed because it felt silly. Then she noticed something. Her shoes stopped scraping the floor. She stopped holding the wall as often. She started walking outside again, first to the porch, then to the end of the street, then around the block with a neighbor. The world did not become risk-free, but it became reachable again. And that is the real message. The one simple change is not only lift your toes, it is choosing to stop sleepwalking through your steps. After 70, every step deserves respect, not fear, respect. Your feet have carried you through decades of life, through work, love, grief, responsibility, family, and change. They have carried you through days you remember and days you barely survived. Now they are asking for attention. So tomorrow morning, before you rush across the room, pause, stand tall, look ahead, lift the toes, land the heel, roll through the foot, take one clean step, then take another, because sometimes saving your life does not begin with a hospital, a machine, or a miracle. Sometimes it begins with the smallest space between your toe and the ground. And there it is, the simple shift that can change everything. Lift the toes, land with the heel, roll through the foot, and take one clean, controlled step at a time. The lesson is simple, but powerful. A safer walk is not created by one big change. It is created by many small choices that protect one another. Better shoes, clearer floors, brighter lights, slower turns, and a foot that lifts before it moves forward. After 70, walking is not just movement. It is freedom. It is confidence. It is the ability to keep entering rooms, visiting family, crossing parking lots, and living life on your own terms. If this video helped you see walking after 70 in a new way, give it a like and share it with someone who wants to stay steady, safe, and independent. And comment below with the word steady if you believe one small daily habit can protect your confidence as you age. Subscribe to Ageless Daily 50 for more simple senior health tips that help you protect your balance, strengthen your legs, and keep moving with confidence. And make sure to watch the next video, because it shows another small daily habit that can help seniors feel stronger and safer every day.